Okay.
Hello, welcome to Synergy. Today we have a guest coming in, a life coach, Miranda Wyatt, and we're going to talk about interesting things. I'm shooting from the hip today, but I got a few conversation starters for Miranda that we've discussed before, and I hope you guys will find it interesting too. So welcome, Miranda, and you're coming in from, is it Mississippi or Alabama?
Alabama, Hill City.
Alabama, okay. And Miranda is a life coach, and we've had many cool discussions online, and so I invited her to come on the show. And I just read your latest post on social media of about complimenting. What was going through your mind with the complimenting?
Actually, a client that I spoke with yesterday, she's been doing well and she's been making good progress. But one thing that we hit on that really stood out was I asked her, we were talking about compassion, and I think that it's easier to have compassion for other people if you can have it for yourself to start with. So I said, well, look, when was the last time you congratulated yourself or applauded yourself for something you did? And she had to really stop and think about it. And I said, okay, that's what we need to work on. And your homework is to start complimenting yourself on things that you do. I don't care how mundane it seems, but you're going to do some of that for the next 7 days and get back to me on our next call. And she said, okay. So I got to thinking about it, and I thought, that's something to think about, because people can compliment each other, especially strangers, like it's nothing. But why can't we do it for ourselves? And I thought that would be, just something to think about, something to bring to people's attention. I've struggled with it, and most of the rest of us have. So this might be something cool to just kind of put out there,
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of us, I don't know anyone that comes from a truly functional family.
Right, yeah.
One that is working like Leave It to Beaver or Brady Bunch. I guess I'm dating myself here, but I don't know anyone that comes from that. And I think that a lot of times I've looked into like the Greek areas of different types of love, and you have agape, which is brotherly love and love for the world, loving kindness, and storge, and ludus, flirtatious love, and eros, sexual love, and a lot of different types of love. But it seems like, from my reading lately, that the amount of love that we can put out there into the world all stems from what they call philautia, which is self-love. And that love is taught to us, by our parents. And if we didn't get that kind of that love, if it was conditional, and I think in most cases, it is conditional. I got to be a good boy, you got to be a good girl, and so on. And oh no, we don't do that, and we get our feelings discounted and stuff, and we learn how to act to receive that conditional love. And we've talked in the past a few times about reprogramming some of the nonsense that we take into adult life from our childhood, and we don't even, I don't even think that people realize that they're doing this. I mean, be 35, 40 years old, and as a child you wanted a candy bar in Walmart, and mommy said, no, you're a bad boy or a bad girl, and you're 40 years old debating about whether you deserve that Snickers bar or not. It's not going to set you into financial ruin or kill your health or anything, but you're having a little debate in your mind about whether you deserve it. So I mean, I've done a lot of work with meditation, hypnotic meditation, to reprogram that. Tell us a little bit about your background. What made you go into this line of work and so on?
Well, I can't sit here and say I've got some master's degree in anything, because I don't. But the things that I've been through have really put me through the ringer, and it took a lot of work to get me to the point where I am, even just here. And I'm nowhere near complete, but
Who is?
after all the, right, yeah. After all the things I've done and all the things I've been through and things I've put myself through unknowingly, because I didn't have clarity on myself, or that I didn't know myself, didn't love myself, didn't know my boundaries, all that kind of stuff. So much disconnect with the self, and that leads to so much turmoil that seems unnecessary, but eventually it puts you to the point where you say, you can make the decision to say, okay, how much longer do I want this? How much longer do I want to endure this? And it's up to you. And I've just had, especially in the past year, I've had a lot of revelations about what I want and what I don't want from life, and what I want and what I don't want from myself, and what kind of example I want to set, and what kind of example I want to set for my son, number one, but also, of course, the clients and anyone else who might be watching me, and because I take it seriously, and my deepest desire to my core is to help people and to show them their potential, and to show them that they do deserve a good life, and they do deserve love. They deserve it from other people, but most of all, they deserve to give it to themselves. Mainly because you can't always guarantee that it'll come from other people, because it may not. And like you said, it is conditional, and people will sit there and say, oh, well, you've done this. Oh, well, screw this, I'm out. And they're gone, and it's over, But as long as you're there with yourself, other people can do whatever. And if your foundation with yourself is solid, I mean, to put it plainly, you'll be fine. And I have been, because of all the times that people have jerked the rug out from under me, and I thought I was getting deserted or whatever. Those clowns were really just doing me a favor, because they taught me, number one, to be more self-sufficient and to rely on myself and to think on my feet and things like that, but also it taught me to have more respect for myself through seeing that I could do things on my own, and that I was capable, and there was no reason for me to sit there and hate myself, and I could go on. But I mean, what I mean is, I feel like, not that I've been through more than anybody else has. I don't think that way at all. We've all got something, and I respect that. But I think in my case, I've had to problem solve so much, and I just have a deep desire to just guide people to the same kind of realizations and the same revelations. I can do it, and I think, well, if I can do this, shoot, let me help you, because I figured it out. Let's do this. Let's do it. Let's get you there. Let's go. Let's make it happen. I figured it out. So that's how I look at it. And I see, and I narrowed it down. I wanted to work with women because, of course, I see life from their point of view, and I understand their antics and idiosyncrasies and everything else, and I understand why they're angry and why they're upset and why they do what they do and why they're so crazy. And I can work with that.
No comment.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but because, and I've had guy friends, and I've had some men message me and ask me stuff, and I'll answer their questions to the best of my ability. Like I will, do what I can regardless. I don't turn down anybody, but especially for women, and a lot of women are angry these days. I've been specializing in anger, but I also sometimes include the anxiety and the depression too, because God knows I've been there. But my focus is anger, because women spend a lot of energy on being angry about stuff that goes wrong. We get angry about things that go wrong, that don't turn out the way we thought they were. We invest in something, and it doesn't just have to be a man. It could be anything. It's something at a job, or something with school, getting a house or something, or an apartment or whatever, and it just goes wrong, and there's so much rage in that, and or being betrayed or done wrong or lied to, and there's a lot of things you could be putting your energy and your effort into besides just staying pissed off. That's such a waste. And because human beings, man or woman, have so much potential and so much that they could be doing, and there's just no use in sitting there being pissed off all the time. That's such a sad waste. And because I've done it, I know I've done it. I've got story after story, and I got some good ones about how angry I've been at people who were just stupid. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Some people were just stupid and kind of waste my time, and I got pissed. And I was angry at them for being stupid, but I was also, but on top of that, even more than that, I was angry at myself for even letting it happen to start with. Because women get mad at themselves for thinking, why did I even trust this? Why didn't I pay attention? I knew this didn't smell right. Why did I let this happen? And that's just worldwide. So, and they do that because they don't have, from my point of view anyway, from what I've seen and certainly what I've done to myself, there's no boundaries. There's no being comfortable with saying no to something, or thinking, we've got to do something for survival. Oh, I got to do this so he'll help me. If I just do what he wants to, it'll be safe to ask for $40. It's just stupid stuff like that. And that's no way to live, period.
No,
and that's
no.
what I want to clear up. You know what I mean? But
you mentioned some
universal,
a few points that I want to touch on that you mentioned. I mean, I think we get what we accept, so when we are in relationships with other people, the things that we'll accept, the selfishness we'll accept, the bad behavior we'll accept, we'll get more of that, and then looking at the roots of, why do I accept this? I'm lonely. I need financial help. I need somebody else here to help me financially. I can't help myself. And some of these erroneous ideas that we let red flags, we just ignore that red flag and stuff like that. I think of it as like, you go on a first date with someone, you go to a nice restaurant, and they're treating you nicely, and they're being polite to you and appropriate to you, and they're insulting the wait staff, and they're flipping people off, and you go, well, I must be special. No, you're not. And within a few months that you excuse those red flags, you'll find out that they eventually will treat you just like they treat the wait staff and everybody else. But I want to excuse that. I want to let that slide because this person's good looking, and I'm lonely, and I need a little love, and so on and so forth. And let's face it, once you get into a relationship, it's much easier to deny the things that are going wrong than to actually do something about them. I mean, so I really understand denial. I mean, I've been to a million rehabs, and I come home and I start drinking again, and it's going to be different this time. I'm going to control it. I'm going to do this. And this is after umpteenth rehab of knowing that it's going to go out of control eventually. And, but the family is keeping their fingers crossed, because the alternative to it, maybe this time it'll be better, is get a lawyer, maybe have to put the bills in my own name, go through a whole lot of rigmarole, a whole lot of emotional turmoil, and so on and so forth, or keep my fingers crossed, go in the room and watch Netflix for a few hours and try to divert myself from it. You mentioned, the credentials thing, and so on and so forth. And, in my work, I see a lot of, highly credentialed people who have spent time learning their kung fu. And by that, I'm going to go with my kung fu metaphor here. It's like, well, they opened a book and they looked at NLP, and they looked at dialectical behavioral therapy, and they looked at Jungian analysis, and they looked at, and they looked at humanism and transpersonal psychology, and so on and so forth. And here's the big but they haven't practiced their kung fu. So they can tell you, oh, hey, look, he's using dragon style, or he's using Shaolin temple style, or whatever. But when it comes right down to it, if you don't get out there for 30 minutes or 45 minutes a day and kick a bag for a little while and practice some of it, then, especially people who are newly coming into this are not going to have any trust for what you have to say, even if it does. And then you're not providing a good personal ad hominem example of, hey, well, you can kind of trust me on this, because I come into work with a smile on my face. I'm pretty happy. My life is semi in order. I'm never going to say that, I'm there, because I don't know if human beings ever really get there. And so I mean, I think that, the fact that, you are willing to look at this insightfully of your own things gives you a leg up on what you do, because it's like, oh, okay, I have been through this. And and you mentioned, well, you've been through it, so you want to bring the next person up to the next rung on the ladder. And I think that, I think that's laudable. And I think that that's what, that's the reason that I do what I do, is because, hey, it exists up here, and prior to that, I did not know that, I thought that happiness was, maybe getting all my material needs accomplished, getting a degree, going to the gym and getting a nice body, having a cool car. And, and when I finally realized, no, it's none of those things. Those are all nice, and those are all good goals to have. But if I can't get that happiness inside of me, then they're really just very fleeting, and the ego will have a longer list tomorrow if I accomplish today's list, and it'll be endless and it'll never happen. So, I mean, what kind of practices do you do on like a regular basis to, to keep yourself leveled out, and to reprogram, and so on and so forth?
Right. Reprogramming, that's actually also a good topic. That's something else I like the neuro pathways, like your brain gets the grooves in it, from telling yourself a certain thing for so long. And that's like, it's like a physical thing, apparently that happens, but it can be retrained with really, I mean, it's a decision, and it's a matter of willpower. But anyway, I don't want to get off on another topic. But for myself, I like going for walks. I like to go in the morning when I bounce up and start my day. I usually start the day with a pretty good level of energy. I start to kind of peter out right around 1 or 2 in the afternoon. So I do my walk in the morning. I do some breathing exercises while I'm walking, just some stuff to kind of get my oxygen moving, My lung capacity isn't really all that good. And I've tried running, but I can't run because my throat's shut.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, I don't know why though. A doctor told me one time that I had exercise-induced asthma, but that doesn't make any sense, because I can do every other strenuous activity and I don't have that problem. It's just running, and my throat will shut. But I go for walks. I do my breathing as well as I can. Of course, I do my yoga. I do some quiet time, a little bit of meditation to just kind of quiet my inside. And but the yoga especially, I would say, is probably the biggest thing that helps. I don't eat heavy, I try to eat like light meals, because if I get too full, I get really sluggish and my brain just like quits, it's when I start getting tired. So I like to be around animals. That calms me down. Of course, being around my son makes me feel good, so I make sure I get a lot of time with him. And I like calm colors, like especially interior. When you go in some people's houses and they've got it decorated, and it's just like, I mean, they like it, but it's like all over the place and it might be too busy. I like what you might call the Danish style, where it's a bit more simplified, or maybe calming colors, like what they call masculine colors, just like toned down, relaxing type stuff that's not in your face, like pink and purple and stuff like that. So I like to use colors inside to kind of soothe my mind a little bit, so I can think a bit more clearly, less more type things. I also like to live a little bit minimalist, just not too much junk. I think some people say that your living space is a reflection of your inner mind or whatever. You go into people's houses and it's just, stuff laying everywhere. And that could very well be how they feel on the inside. But so for me, I try to keep it nice and tidy and neat in the house. And that just made me feel like I can think better, I think, because I'm not dealing with as much. And I'm not having to process so much.
My mind must be out there, because if you have an American Pickers home, I feel calmer. I don't know if you ever seen that show. They're very eclectic Americana and stuff like that. They dig out of old sheds and so on and so forth. But that stuff, it makes me happy. It makes me happy to look at it, and so on and so forth. You mentioned in the beginning, of walks in the morning and nature, and I think that's whatever spiritual practices we follow. There are certain things that are common to most spiritual pursuits. Spending time in nature, quiet contemplation, meditation, spending time with family, and so on and so forth. And I think that nowadays, even atheists are looking at this, because okay, well, they look happier. They look happier. Don't care who's God and who's sitting on the throne and who's judging or not judging, or how that happens. But we have to admit that these guys, these men and women who practice certain things, practice a little meditation, maybe get together and sing songs, go walk in nature and stuff like that, seem to have a happier life, and so on and so forth. And I've seen, I saw your last other post on divine feminine and stuff like that. What are your spiritual values, beliefs like?
That's a good question. Well, I guess if I'm honest, I'd have to say I'm a little bit all over the place. I have a tendency to find, I know people say this a lot, but I have a tendency to find a little bit of good in at least most of the stuff I read. I am interested in nature. I hold nature in high regard. I think, because nature leads the way to think about it. If there's a flood, everybody panics. If there's a hurricane, everyone panics. Tornado, fire, that's stuff that is going to take control, or can take control, whether you want it to or not. So I think it would benefit us to have a little bit of respect for nature, and just take care of it and let it do its thing, and not just try to conquer it or develop every inch of it. Here in Alabama, we have a lot of woodland and fields and stuff like that. But as you drive through, and I'm in the country a bit, I'm kind of out here, and you can drive through, and we've got little towns and stuff like that, and then in between the towns is just woods. But there's places that are just getting developed and built up and dug up and stuff like that. And it's like, this can't continue forever. But another story for another time. But I would say nature veneration. Me personally, I'm very interested in ancestor veneration, and I've always been that way. People who aren't interested in that at all, which I run into now and then, are kind of curious to me, because I just grew up that way. But what else do I like? I like German Shepherds. I take them seriously. And spiritual beliefs, I believe in an afterlife. I don't know where it is. It might be on the same dimension, and not the same dimension. I'm sorry, on the same like physical place that we're in, but just on a different plane somehow. Some people will say that there's different time periods or dimensions overlapped, and you could be in your house doing something, and somebody in another dimension or another you in another dimension could actually be in that house as well, and y'all could just be right on top of each other and not know it because you can't see each other. You ever heard anybody say that?
Yeah. Like, oh
You
yeah,
never
the
know.
whole
I'm
bubble concept of like the universe of many universes all happening at the same time and so on and so forth. Oh, look, my son is home.
yeah.
Welcome. Okay, and I don't know. I think if anyone tells you they have the down low, they have the skinny on what God is and so on and so forth, I usually run away from those people because I found that I'm a big fan of Jesus Christ and just not a big fan of Christians.
Yeah.
Because along the way, I just ran into so many who were just unforgiving, hypocrites, and judgmental,
Mhm.
and so on. And that's not all of them by any means, but I found that the ones that are like that are usually practicing their faith for fear. For fear if I
Yeah.
don't practice it this way, I'm going to burn in hell forever, and so on and so forth. And then it's very easy to be misled when you're doing something for fearful reasons. If I can't dispassionately separate from my emotions, then I'm making bad decisions. If I say something in anger, if I say something out of fear and so on, then I probably am not making a good rational decision and looking at all the areas I should be looking at. But then, those are so difficult because even as we do a lot of work, with the 12 steps, I did a lot of, they employed a lot from Carl Jung and looking at aspects of instinct that we follow and things that piss us off, which is shadow work. So how far down the tubes did I go, compromise values, and so on and so forth. And it gives you a really good insight to look at, okay, well, I like to think that I'm not lazy, but sometimes I'm lazy. I like to think that I'm not the most lustful person, but sometimes it happens, and so when you do start looking at that, you kind of, I'll say kind of, started getting the attitude that, what, everything's going to work out all right, no matter how it works out, no matter whether it doesn't meet my expectations. And I took a lot from Buddhism and so on, of not trying to reduce desires in my life and so on and so forth, and be happy with what I have and be content with what I have. My earliest contemplation started out just like sitting on my front stoop and having a coffee and a cigarette and watching my cats. And the cats were happy with nothing. They were like, they put their head on a brick and go to sleep. If an Amazon box came in, they were ecstatic. Oh, look at this box we have to check out. And they're eating the same kibble every day and stuff. And from there, it started to, say, well, geez, what do I have? Well, I have a roof over my head. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm eating food out of a refrigerator. That's better than eating out of a trash bin.
Yeah.
I have some people around me that care about me and want to see me succeed and so forth. That's a good thing. And I really started not caring so much about having everything. And I think we've talked a little bit about manifesting and stuff like that, and trying to manifest your best life. And I think that really comes from shifting your attitude of what you have. Because there's so many, I'm in a few these groups on manifestation, Neville Goddard and Joe
Oh yeah.
Dispenza and stuff like that. And people come in instantly, oh, I need to manifest money. I'm like, yeah, you're going to have to change your attitude and your outlook and everything else. And then the money will be there. I never worry about money anymore, but I don't want a lot either. So, it's like, oh, I want a new book on Amazon. I'm going to go and buy it. And I don't have to think about it too much. you know, and because I don't really want that much. I mean, there's a couple of areas like guitars, you know, I was like, oh, I need a new guitar, that will make me Eric Clapton. You know, no, it won't. It won't. If I really think about it, I have 3 guitars. How often do I play them? So I put a little thought behind it, and it goes to, you know, you have 3 already and you play them like maybe once a month, you know, so they're having this new fancy shiny new red one is not going to make you become the next Jimi Hendrix or anything. Do you really want to spend the money on it? And usually, you know, I'll put things, I'll do like, let's put it in the cart on Amazon or whatever and leave it for a couple of days, and then a couple of days later go, I really guess I don't really even want or need that that bad. So I don't even know where I'm going with this. You know, but
And now
yeah, well, the manifestation. I mean, you know, how do you manifest your best life? I mean, whether you consider it creative visualization or whatever it is, to stay like a good equanimity, a good state of tranquility.
okay, yeah, and those are good words to use for that. Yeah, well, see, you said you were saying, you know, that you ask yourself, and we all need to do this. Everybody needs to do this. In my humble opinion, do I really need it? I've already got so many, you know, x amount of things like that anyway. And I think, and that made me think of a good question that a person could ask herself, which is, I'm wanting this, or I'm wanting to collect this, or whatever. And a lot of times when people do that, they're trying to fill the hole. Same reason people eat a lot, or whatever, anything, when they overdo something, you know, that there's a good chance they could be trying to fill a void. You got to ask yourself what that void is, and you have to be real with yourself about, why do I need that so bad? What void am I trying to fill? So I think with manifesting, the number one, the desperation, the feeling of desperation has to go away, because you're relying so much, and you're so attached on that one thing. If I just get that, I'll be happy. If I can just attain that, I'll be happy. Everything will be okay. You know, so now you're putting your whole existence or your whole happiness or whatever on that one thing. Your life is worth so much more than that, than the you know, some coaches are like this. If I can just get, you know, one client, I'll be satisfied. If I just get that guitar, I'll be happy. If I just, you know, and that's not you. That's not who you are. You're a human being, and your life matters. You know, why are you reducing it to, you know, some nonsense, some one-time, you know, spiel? That's not who you are. You're way more than that. And people like minimize themselves by reducing it to that. Oh, I can just get that, I'll be happy. No, because when you do, guess what? It's not going to be enough. It's like any addiction or anything that you just think you got to get. It'll never be enough. And that's why you got to say, okay, you know, what am I really looking for? What's the void? What's the bottomless pit I'm working with? And you just have to be real with yourself and really look at yourself. And people are afraid of that because they're afraid to see that, you know, something's up, you know, that has to be addressed. But that's not a bad thing. A lot of people say, you know, okay, well, what's wrong with you? Or what's wrong with me? Why am I doing this? What's wrong with me? Something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. The question is not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you. Is the question. You know, what happened? Something happened, and you had a reaction, and you're quote unquote coping the best way that you know how. But there's better ways, and it's just a matter of diving into that. But I think for the manifesting, especially, people get too attached to what they think they want, and they're also may not be realizing their blockages, because you can manifest blockages too. You know, you can manifest or create whatever you want, and you can create bad stuff happening to you too. There's people that worry all the time, you know, about being sick or getting hurt or, you know, losing money or something like that, and then they keep going through it over and over again. And it's like, you're doing this, but you have to look in the mirror and say, okay, what do I need to stop doing to change my life? Ultimate question. What do I need to stop doing if I want to change my life? What is it? Period. And you just have to talk to yourself like an adult and just do it. And it takes a lot of willpower. It takes a lot of courage, and it can be scary and it can be hard to get there, which is why I like to do the kind of job I'm doing. So I'm like, no, look, you can do it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't be afraid of changing your life, and don't be afraid of your shadow work and all the rest of it. You know, you're a human being. Your life matters. You're a soul. I believe that there's some part of you that does go on forever. You're infinite. You're eternal. Why are you scared? You know, what are you scared of? Let's just do this. You know what I mean? Let's fix it.
Oh yeah.
And that's how I look at it. Yeah.
I think sometimes, manifesting money might mean I get a call to go do overtime at work, it might not mean a check in the mailbox,
Yeah.
And if a lot of people will start with the meditation and level up their gratitude in the meditation for half an hour or 45 minutes, but then the rest of their day is life sucks, this is hard, well, no, you're going to manifest the other 18 hours of your consciousness more than those 30 minutes. And I used to see people, there's one complainer that would come in every day. I had a job at Walmart years ago, and every day she would come in and she would have new horrible complaints to complain about, as like, this stuff was happening to her, something happened to her son, something happened to this. It's just like, and it's almost like, well, it's I almost think you're enjoying how horrible everything is, so you can talk about it, and then you get, and it's like, well, look how much she enjoys the horrors and the terrible. We'll give her some more of that to have something to discuss at work or whatnot. And I think that when we have deep-seated fears too, we manifest those. I always had a fear of abandonment. You know what? I'm gonna have to wrap up the show now, though, because we're at the end of our time, and I think we've pretty much covered everything I wanted to cover today. So thank you so much for coming, Miranda, and I look forward to to having you back on in the future and to hearing more about what's going on. So thank you for coming, and this is our show. You got anything you can describe in 10 seconds that you're doing now?
My line of work, I just help women with anger and clarity and how to love themselves.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for being on today, and thank you